today we are looking Unit 5 Coding and Testing. So first, coding. What is coding? The coding is nothing but writing of a code for software program or project. In this chapter, we will discuss the coding and testing phases of the software lifecycle. So when we can say that the coding is starts, the first we can say that the input to the coding phase is nothing but a design document. A design document means what? A document which is produced at the end of design phase, the phase previous of coding phase. So we can say that coding is undertaken once the design phase is complete and the design documents have been successfully reviewed. So what happened during coding phase? During coding phase, different modules identified in the design document are coded according to the module specification. So as we know, the output of the design phase, that at the end of the design phase we have the module structure of the system. Module specification means we have the structure chart of each and every module or different modules. We know the data structure used and the algorithm for each and every module. So this we have as an output of the design phase. We will use this output of the design phase. We identify each and every module in the design document are coded and then we code according to the module specification. This is happen during the coding phase. Hope you get what happened during the coding phase. We have the output of the design phase. We use that output means we use the module structure and module specification, and according to that we do the code. Okay, so we can say that the objective of the coding phase is to transform the design of the system into code in a high level language and then to unit test this code. Okay, so now we are talking about coding standards. What is coding standards? Okay, we can say that the coding standards are, what are coding standards? The coding standards provide guidelines for programmers that they must follow or they must deal to in terms of how to code the module and how the organizational structure of the code should be. So this means coding standards. It includes the naming of the files, the file organization, the statements, and so many more things. Those we will discuss in the further part of discussion. So we can say that it is very important to understand why our coding standards are needed. Hope you understand what is coding standards. Coding standards is nothing but a style we have to use to write a code. Okay, so now the question is why our coding standards are needed. Okay, so in typical real world it is very difficult to understand what type of particular code are coded by team members because there is a huge team of the developers. Okay, so to understand the style of the developers, the style of the coding implemented by that developer, we have to follow the standards. So if they follow the standards, we can understand what type of code is that. So there is a no specific coding style or standard defined, or there is a no specific rule book for coding standards. So every organization has their own approaches. Now the question arises here is, how do we decide a coding standards? Okay, or how each and every organization decide the coding standards? So we can say that the good software development organizations normally require their programmer to stick to some well defined and standard style of coding, which is called as a coding standards. Okay, so many, in order to achieve the coding standards, many software development organizations formulate their own coding standards that suits them most. They require their developers to follow those standards rigorously. So we can say that the advantages of sticking to a standard style of coding is the coding standards gives a uniform appearance to the codes written by different engineers. It enhances the code understanding. It encourages the good programming practices. Okay, this means the coding standards. So it lists several rules. Coding standards means a list of several rules or a standard ways to be followed during coding. So the way variables are named, for example, how the variables are named, the code is to be laid out, maximum number of source line allowed per function, the error return convention, etc. Okay, so coding standards have to be mandatorily followed by programmers, and compliance to coding standards is verified before the testing phase can start. So we will see the representative coding standards. Very important, this is very important because programmer use a lot of global variables. Okay, many programmers use a lot of global variables to avoid the errors, but it requires a lot of security, right? So coding standards provide some rules. Okay, we have to follow that style so that it will be used to maintain the security. We can maintain the security and we can avoid the confusion, and it is used for better understanding of that code. So the first coding standard is the rules for limiting the use of goals. The first one is the rules for limiting the use of global data types or use of globals. So this rule says that which type of data that can be declared global and the data which can't be declared as a global. The second representative is the standards header to precede the code of different modules. The content of the header preceding the codes for different modules. So for better understanding and maintenance of the code, the header of different modules should follow some standard format and information. It means each and every header should follow some standard format, okay, so that it is easily understandable. So for example, it shows the header format must contain some things that is being used in various companies: the name of the module, the date of the module creation. It means the header should contain these things: the name of the module, date of the module creation, or the author name, modification history, synopsis of the module, about what the module does, the different functions supported in the module with their input output parameters, the global variable accessed modified by the module, etc. Okay, these are some standards they should follow for standard headers so that we can understand the headers and it is easy for maintenance of the code. The third representative is the naming conventions. The naming conventions must include few things: the naming conventions for the global variables, the naming conventions for the local variables, and constant identifiers. We should follow some rules while giving the name to the global variables or local variables or constant. So some of the naming conventions are given as: the global variable names will always start with the capital letter. The local variable names start with the small letter. The constant name should form using the capital letters only. So it is better to avoid the use of digits in variable names. The names of the functions should be written starting with the small letter. The name of the functions must describe the reason of using the function clearly and briefly. Okay, these conventions, these rules we should follow while giving the name to the global variables, local variables, and constant variables. Okay, the next representative is conventions regarding error return values and exception handling mechanism. The error return conventions and exception handling mechanism. All the errors or exceptions should return the appropriate errors and Before coding begins, in some cases we need to plan the possible exception and code their exception handling mechanism. Okay, so the different functions in a program which report the errors, they report the way error conditions are handled should be standard within an organization. Okay, get it? It means whatever you planned, that how the error should be written, whatever you planned for exception handling, it should be in a standard format. The program which reports the error conditions are handled should be standard within an organization. For example, all functions while encountering an error conditions should either return 0 or 1 consistently. This can be the example. Okay, it means you should plan before coding the exception handling mechanism. Okay, you should follow some standard format, you should decide some standard format how the exception handling, how the error is written in coding. Okay, these are some representative coding standards. The next is coding guidelines. So now what is coding guidelines? It provides the general suggestions regarding coding style to be followed. It means it provides some guidelines or suggestions that how you follow the coding standards. So you can differentiate that what is coding guidelines and what is coding standards. Coding standards means what? A style, how you code your modules. And the guidelines means what? They provide some rules about how to follow those coding standards. Okay, so they provide the suggestions regarding coding styles to be followed. So we can say that the coding guidelines are rules about how to write the code so that it will be consistent, robust and easily understood. This is a coding guidelines. So now you know the difference between the coding guidelines and coding standards. Now the representative coding guidelines. Which coding guidelines you should follow? The first one is do not use a coding style that is too clever or too difficult to understand. Okay, it means because the clever coding can obscure meaning of the code and hamper the understanding. Code should be easily understandable. The complex code makes maintenance and debugging difficult and very expensive. Means the one who know how to code, they do the coding cleverly, but it may happens that it is very difficult to understand to others. Okay, so as we know, the code should be easily understandable by all the developers. So you should follow some standards, you should follow some style for coding. So it means the coding should not be too clever or too difficult to understand. Okay, the next is avoid obscure side effects. Side effects caused because of we act side effects caused because of we act functions for we use functions for modifications. Okay, it means the function call include the modifications, means the parameter passed by reference, the parameter passed for modification of the global variables and IO exceptions. So uncertainty or unknown side effects make it difficult to understand the code. Okay, so avoid the obscure side effects. The next one is do not use an identifier for multiple purpose. Okay, the program use some identifiers. The program may use same identifiers to denote the several temporary entities. For example, some programmer use the temporary loop variable for also computing and storing the final results. If you are using an identifier in looping, you may use the same identifier to store that result, final result. Okay, so the rule says that the guideline says that do not use the identifiers, the same identifier for multiple purposes. So some of the problems caused by use of the variables for multiple purposes are, we will see the problems. The caused by the variables. The same variables for multiple purposes are: each variable should be given a descriptive and meaningful name, indicating the reason behind using it. When we are using a variable, we are giving the variable name a very descriptive and meaningful, so that we can identify or indicate the reason behind using that variable. And if an identifier is used for multiple purposes, that same identifier is used for multiple purposes, then it can lead to the confusion to the reader. Okay, for example, we are using a variable addition, add, that is variable for storing the result of addition, and you are using the same variable for another two purposes. Okay, same add variable for other two purposes, then while reading that code it is very confusion, it creates a very confusion to the reader. The second thing is, the use of the variable for multiple purposes leads to more difficult during future enhancement. So these are some problems caused by the use of the variables for multiple purposes. The next one is, the code should be well documented. It means there should be at least one comment line on the average for every three source lines of code. You should give the comment after three source lines of code, okay, which describes the meaning of that code. So it means the code should be well documented, so it is easy for reader, it is understandable for the reader. The next guideline is, the length of any function should not exceed 10 source line. Means what? The lengthy functions are very difficult to understand. Therefore, the function should be small enough to carry out a small work, and the lengthy function should be broken into the small one. Okay, these rules, this guideline you should follow while coding. And the last one is, do not use go-to statements, because go-to statement makes program unstructured. Therefore, making is very difficult to understand, debug and maintain the program. This is about the coding standards and coding guidelines.